Let's move to the draft.
Okay.
And when you're looking at this draft, we'll start with you, Brad. Coming out of this draft, you have 74 and 98. Those are your first two picks. Are you going to start with
74 and 98?
Yeah, 74 and 98.
Gave us some real estate to get.
Yeah, we did get, and now we trying to get back up.
Right.
Is the Browns' best philosophy going to be best available or by need?
Well, I think your philosophy in the draft is always best available, depending on where you're picking it. But we are in the market to buy a need, right? Now, here, I will say this. To me, Andrew Berry's done a good job assembling the pieces that we have now. We're going to wait to see what we have. But I stay in buying mode, right? I'm not going to come out of buying mode because I still need some pieces. I might have to pick them up at draft day. I got to see how some of this dust settles, right? Because I know y'all all be on me about this, but I like, man, Ezekiel is still nowhere. He ain't nowhere. You know what I like? I like teams that pick up pieces, right? Now, whether I use them or not, but I got pieces. The problem is when we get down to like the Cavs on Tuesday night here, we were like, where are the pieces at, right? This is when this comes into play. Buying, you got to be shrewd about it, though. I think Andrew Berry, when I go back and look at it, he's been fairly shrewd about putting this together without going broke, right? Now we got to see if it plays out because we still have some holes. He's tried to address some. I'm giving room for others to step up. Kareem Hunt is still running around out here, right? What are we doing, right? We have some bandwidth, Jason. We do, right? I think that we have to be in a mode that we're always looking to get better.
So Jason, when you look at this draft and you take a look at it specifically, best need, most needed player, or specifically, the best available on the board, even if it's not in a position in need, where do you stand on that?
Well, they don't have anything that is an absolute glaring need right now. Certainly without a first-round pick, like you're in the third round. Like, you're not drafting a third round to be a day one starter.
Yeah.
More than likely with where they're at, with where this roster is at. They do need more linebackers. They need another defensive tackle, especially if Perrion Winfrey gets cut. I think they still need help in the middle of that defensive
What's up
line.
with that?
I think they're going to let this process play out. I don't think he's on this team on opening day. I'll be surprised. If he's still on this roster in September, I'll be really surprised.
Sometimes it's not worth the headache.
Well, that's exactly it. Like, he showed some flashes last year,
a couple,
but not enough to put up with some of this. And eventually, and I'm telling you, Brown's reputation around the league, from the Kareem instance to the Deshaun, like, they're bringing these guys in. These aren't guys. Now, Perrion, in his defense, was here, but he had flags on his background when they drafted
when he got
him.
here, right?
So, but the Browns, at some point, have to take a stand, because their view externally, whether or not they care about this, is that they don't care about women.
Yeah.
That's the view. They went and got Kareem after we all saw the video. They went and got Deshaun after all the allegations, and now you've got this thing with
Kareem's a
Perrion.
model citizen since he's been here for all I can tell.
He has been good.
Yes, I can tell.
And Perrion, he's just a
Deshaun, too, for all that good. I haven't heard anything out on these streets about him, right?
This was what gets me about certain people. Like, back in the day when I was playing and we had a new coach come in, we knew what it was about. Like, when you get a new coach that come into the system, they watching you. They tick, 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 tick. They're trying to find out who you is and what you about. But when you look at Perrion Winfrey, you didn't have a great season last year. You showed some things, right? But you also were suspended by people, people saying you need to get mature. You were sat down last year. Why in the heck would you come out here, Perrion, and knowing good and well you got a new defensive coordinator, a new coach that's watching, and they done already got 3-4 dudes. They got 3-4 dudes they've already brought in veterans, right? That signals to the young guys, we are not playing with y'all. We don't have time to wait on you. And Perrion is a guy who had issues in Oklahoma. And let's just be clear, Jason, you're right. At some point in time, you can't keep having the same trope hit y'all, especially when it comes to women. Right? If after the Deshaun Watson thing, things should have went off in everybody's mind. Hey, listen, I can't be moving around doing certain things. And to be truthful, I tell my family and the members this all the time. I'm trying to grind. I ain't got no time to be doing cookouts. Y'all want to? I could do cookouts with you the rest of my life. But I don't have no time visiting, leaving, coming back. You can FaceTime me, bro. I'm in this book. I'm trying to get better. And a lot of times, for young players, this was not the time to be hanging out.
We weren't there. We don't have the details of what happened with Perrion. But what is disappointing is the fact that they did send him home knowing he had to grow up and mature, and he couldn't afford any more instances like this.
So you're correct. Nobody knows what happens, but here's the deal, right? You have to be aware of the circumstances. You have to know what's really on the table. So the table for him is he's still on a make good.
Yep.
He has to be on his best behavior at all times.
You can't put yourself
in
a
position. He has
position.
to be in a professional light all the time and prove to people, because if you don't think that word was out there to prove to people that I can be the person that measures up to this talent that we think you have, right? And that's what you always have to. So you have to be the person that arrives to work every day early, the one that stays longer, right? To prove that, like, Okoro comes to practice first.
Yes.
He's the last one to leave.
Yep.
Right? He's always done that, right? So they don't question
the work ethic.
That ain't even an issue.
They question some other stuff,
right?
But they don't question the work ethic. So that gives you the grace that as sometimes when you're stumbling along, they give you more grace and say, okay, we're gonna keep working with you. Mm-hmm. But if you start doing things that it goes back to this, they say this. They don't even understand.
Yeah, you don't even get it. It's the principle, right? You don't. I will say this. It's disappointing though, because what I really would like to see is him being able to learn from some of those veterans in there, right? Being able to be up underneath some of those guys and to learn a little something. Now it seems like a lot of times with the Browns, they're trying to build depth. They're trying to build their roster. They're trying to build their numbers. And it seems like they're always losing a guy, whether it be from injury, whether it be from guys that's not doing the right stuff. And it's hard to build those ranks when you're doing that.
Part of that is the nature of the NFL. It's you're always churning. You're always bringing guys in and guys are going out. But to get back to the original point about the draft, I'll be surprised if they stay at 74. That's just not their MO. They have too many picks for what spaces they have available on this roster. I would like to see them try and package a couple and move up, either higher to the third round or the second round.
Would you mind dipping in next year's resources? Now
it depends on who. It depends on who's available and at what spot. I mean, who among us thought that they would take a corner with their first pick last year? I never would have dreamed that.
Not at all.
And it turned out to be a home run pick.
Yeah.
So but they had to drop down quite a far ways in order to do that. They came out of the second round, dropped to the third, picked up an extra pick that became Cade York. Mm-hmm. So I don't see them. I mean, they love to move down and acquire picks. If they're doing that again, it's to get picks next year. I don't think they're going to move down from 74. I wouldn't think. But, hopefully maybe there's someone available in the second round, receiver. I don't know if I mentioned that. Receiver, tackle, and linebacker. The conversation hasn't changed. Those are the three spots where I think they could use more depth. It just depends on how your board falls, who's available. And if someone you really like slips a couple spots and you've got extra ammo to go up and get someone, go be aggressive.
Well, it seems to me the Browns are built for now.
Yeah.
I ain't got a whole lot of time to be, because my window is short. Mm-hmm. I ain't got a lot of time for problems. I ain't got a lot of time for if you ain't ready to go, I ain't got time to train you up. Yeah. Because my window is short, right? And so when your window's a little longer, it's like Minnesota Timberwolves. Their window's a little longer, so you have to take some incoming, right? Mm-hmm. And whereas you like Golden State, their window is now.
Yeah, they're not worried about resources.
Because them dudes gonna be gone. Yeah, you can see it.
You're past your prime, and we got a lot of guys that kind of fit that mold. Let me ask you, this story came out. I know it's not on the rundown. What do you guys make of Greg Newsome coming out with his plea? Greg Newsome, Jason, he said he loves Cleveland. He won't be here. I get it. He does. Is that a product of his agent saying, "Hey, look, we're gonna go put some water on this real quick"?
Total honesty, total honesty. I don't care if he asks for a trade or not, because he's not going anywhere. They're not going to trade him. I don't believe anything players say on the record. Players and agents lie half the time and make up the rest. When you're talking on the record,
that's the way it goes.
They say what they're supposed to say.
You see my face? Yeah. What you say?
That's the way it goes.
Am I wrong?
Is that what about the reporters that lie and make up things on the record?
I've never done that.
I didn't say you did. See, her dog will always bark. You know that? Have you ever known that?
He said, "Are you allegedly saying?"
Right.
I've never.
I'm just saying there are people in his business that make up things all the time.
It depends on who you're talking about in the publication.
Okay, I
that
can
you're
go to
in.
Chicago, LA, New York. There are people in your business that make up stuff all the. It don't have nothing to do with the person. I mean, the business. It depends on what your motives are. Greg Newsome changed the agent for one reason, because the one he had was not getting done what he wanted to get done. He just won't tell you what the deal is, right? Greg Newsome don't want to be in that slot. He want to be on the end. They say, nah, got Emerson on the side here. He better than you. So you going in the slot. So to Jason's point, I control you. You don't control me. You in this slot. And so now, the only reason you change the agent when you're not up in a contract year, what kind of dispute can you have?
But his agent is not going to get him into out of the slot.
But when you're young and don't know how this business really works, you think you know, right?
When Duke Johnson wanted to trade,
oh my God,
he went to the same place Greg Newsome went.
Yep. Did he get it?
And he got it. But that was a completely different circumstance.
It's a different circumstance
than what this is. And I mean, Newsome's changed agents like 3-4 times now, and now he's back where he started. So I don't care. I don't care if you ask for a trade or not. I don't care if you're happy here or not. Go out and produce. And I think part of the reason the Browns gave David Njoku the contract that they did was because he got back in the boat. And there was a time when Austin Hooper was here and they drafted Harrison Bryant. Njoku wanted out. And the Browns talked to him. They got him to buy back in. He became a very valuable player to this team.
Yeah.
And they ended up, that contract's still an overpay. But I think part of it was because they told him, get back in the boat and we'll make you whole on the back end. And they could do the same with Newsome. What's to stop them from paying Newsome higher than slot corners get if he comes in and does his job?
And perform.
But
you just said the right thing. You have to perform. Right? This is what this is. You're here. Let me tell you, all young players out here, no matter what sports you're in, here's the rule of the day. Take it with you for everything that you may hear out here. You are only good as your last game. If your last game you sucked, they look at you like you sucked. If you balled out, you my latest and greatest new best friend. I said that's how you keep yourself on an even keel here, right? So when you sit here and don't do that, you're clouding your own judgment, saying, I'm this guy.
Earl.
You're not proven to be that guy.
I got a question for Jason, but I do agree with Jason. I can care less what Greg Newsome wants. You want the contract, go out here and ball out. All that extra stuff we ain't got time for. Jason, back to the draft, though. You said there's 3 positions that you can see them trading up for. Jalen Hyatt is one of the guys that I would love to go get, but I've seen a lot of mock drafts that I've skimmed through, and it has the Browns taking running backs. Your thoughts on that?
No. With their first pick?
Like with their first pick. And that's why we kind of titled this best available or specific need. And I was kind of shocked to see that myself, that running backs being mocked to the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they're looking at Nick as getting up there in running back standards.
How old is he now?
26.
I don't even know. How many years has he been here? 4? He's got to be 26, 27.
26. I'll tell you. Hold on.
But
27 years old.
Yeah. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Because the value in running back, you can find running back.
To me, I when you look at it, I can't see them going after even if it's safety. You don't need no safety. You can get you a safety. Even if it's like there's only 3 positions to me that matter, that they should be looking at: receiver, edge rusher, linebacker, or D tackle. That's it. I would prefer to get another D tackle if they can get another veteran so I can plug up that hole. If Perrion Winfrey not going, I wouldn't be mind if they go after that as well on the defensive line. If you gonna get rid of Perrion Winfrey. But to me, the position they still need the most is receiver. And I know people talk about it all the time, like, hey, we already got Elijah Moore. We already got Goodwin. We already got Donovan. No. Listen, that's great. I love it, like it. But I still would I love Jalen Hyatt out of Tennessee. I think he's scary fast. He runs past everybody. I'm trying to get me one of them type dudes. If the Browns trade up and want to go get another, and to me, it's just about impact. Whoever it is they get, I need them to be in the mix for starting. And I think that's what the come down is. It's about whether or not you're going to get a bench player or a guy to come in. Give me a contributor. If you need to package up them 3s and 4s, because we don't got no time to be waiting for 3s and 4s. If you need to go back over to that second round, I would like to see them do it in day one if they feel like they got an impact player.
Receiver is the one spot where you could probably get, if you move up to the second round, you get someone who gets on the field. And linebacker, I guess. Really any position in the second round, you should get someone who's going to get on the field right away. But the Browns are really in a position right now to draft for depth. And for drafting, you're trying to draft guys now, 3rd round, 4th round, who are going to be starters for you a year from now, 2 years from now.
Or sometimes, you can find a jewel.
Absolutely.
But that requires you to be a miner. You know how to mine. You got to be able to know where somebody's got something.
And running back is the one position where you can really go. I mean, you can find a 6th round running back who becomes a pivotal piece to your
Look at the
team.
dude from Kansas City from Rutgers.
But Shenko, I don't know where they got. That's messed up.
I don't remember him running the Big Ten like that.
No.
Well, let's transition. Let's get to some Guardians.